you would have think I would have known that while working with him, but as I'm watching it, and all these years have passed. First of all, everybody was amazing on the show. The show still holds up. It was brilliant. I'm watching it going, damn, this is good. I can understand why it was the phenomenon it was. Larry was a masterclass. Just the things he did were unbelievable. And yeah, he was amazing.
Yeah.
He really was.
I mean, I would imagine so many people would come up to him and just literally people blend those lines anyway, but people probably just really thought he was JR. I mean, he was so good at it, like just
Yeah. And he
inhabiting
loved
that.
it. He loved it. He loved meeting people and he loved it. He loved every minute of it.
He did. I mean, that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
But I mean, did you watch the whole thing when you discovered it again on Amazon with your cigarette and your martini and did you watch like every episode, even when you were not on the show?
No, I think I'm only up to season 3. I haven't sat there and like binged it. If I, you know, I'll watch a little bit of it and go do something else. But I haven't, no, I
Keep
haven't.
going, keep going.
I know I have to keep going.
Have you heard from people like, this new generation? Like, do you hear from like a lot of the young people, like you said, that were your age that reach out?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. That's what made me say, maybe I should rewatch, maybe I should watch this because I was getting tons of mail and tons of from all over the world. People discovering it for the first time or people rewatching it again. And it was just, you know, so
Wow. I mean, that shows you right there, like it withholds the test of time. Not that I would have ever doubted that. Well, you left in season 8 in 1985. Like, how did that come about? Like, was that like a mutual decision? Like, did you want to pursue other things or they decided like, okay, we're going to take a break from Lucy at this point?
my contract was up. Everybody had a 7-year contract. So my contract was up and they chose not to renew it. And I remember Leonard Katzman called me at home and said, I need you to come to the studio. Um, so I went to the studio and he said, I just wanted to tell you in person. And he started crying. He goes, we're not renewing your contract, whatever. And he said, we love you. We don't know what to do with Lucy. She's at this age. You're married to Mitch. And they did kind of write Lucy into a box because she'd married Mitch, the doctor, and then it kind of like, you know, it took Lucy's stuff away.
Edge. Yeah.
Yeah. And I had just had my daughter and I went, okay. And what they had asked me to do was they said, look, there's going to be a lot of press on this. Just, when you go do interviews, just tell everybody that you chose to leave. You wanted to leave the show to pursue other endeavors and try a film career and all this. I said, why would I say that? That's not the truth. You guys chose not to renew my contract. That's the truth. And that's what I'm going to say. And they were like, no, and they weren't happy. But I said, I'm fine with the truth. You chose not to renew it for whatever reason. So, and I knew it didn't have anything to do with me. I was loved on the show. It was professional. I got along with everybody. I knew it had nothing to do with me. They genuinely didn't know what to do with the character and money, because other cast members were demanding a lot more money and budget cuts. So I got cut. Part of it was a financial decision on their part.
Were you upset or nervous? Like you just had a daughter? Like, did any of that go through your mind? Or you were like, no, this is how it works in Hollywood and I'll figure it out?
No, I remember because I was going to church and I had mentioned to the pastor, you know, they chose not to renew my contract, and I'm not sure what I'm gonna. And first words out of his mouth was, "It's the best thing that could ever happen to you." And I said it to like 3 or 4 other people in my little inner circle, and that was the first reaction out of their mouth. And this is good. This is a good thing. And it was because I was able to, I was able to stay home and just be a mom to my newborn baby. Because when I went back to work, like a week after I had Cherish, and, you know, fortunately, I was able to take her with me on the set, and I had somebody helping me, of course, with her, but, you know, it was hard. So it was a good thing. It really, all things worked out together for good. So
Happened
it
for
was,
a reason.
yeah. And so I was fine with it. And then they had asked me to come back, and I was doing a play at the La Mirada Civic Auditorium, but I had already committed to that. And it wasn't like some big high payday or anything, but it was a play that and I said, they said, well, just drop out of the play. I said, I can't. We're in rehearsals. I can't. We opened in 2 weeks. I can't, you know. So anyway, then they brought me back, and I remember going into Leonard Katzman's office, and his secretary Lou Wellis said, "Thank God they had to bring you back." And I said, "Oh, it's so good." She goes, "No, they had to." She goes, "Do you know how many petitions?" I said, "Oh, people wrote in." She goes, "No, no, no, not just people, petitions." She goes, "I mean, just millions of people were insistent that they brought Lucy back." And it really was fans. So then I just kind of was like, "Oh, thank you." And so that made me feel really good that it was because the fans that really, and I'm not saying Charlene Tilton was missed, but I think the character of Lucy was missed.
Maybe a little bit of both. I was going to say, did you go home and say, damn, I should have asked for a hell of a lot more money?
Oh, no, no, there was no, no, they said, come back. This is what you're getting. Okay, fine, whatever. To me, it was never about the money. To me, it was about the character, about the work, and about just, you know, and they were like a family to me. So, yeah.
And I had read, I don't know if this is true because lots of things you read aren't true. I had read that like Larry Hagman himself was like very outspoken and instrumental of like, you need to bring Charlene back. Maybe Lucy, but I've read a lot of places that he was like, we need, this is unacceptable.
I don't, I don't know about that, but I do know that it really, Leonard Katzman's secretary said, you know, you didn't hear it from me, but they didn't have a choice. They had to bring you back because there was such a fan uproar that they didn't have a choice.
So that's nice.
Yeah. I mean, that it just made me feel appreciative, you know, of the fans. And to this day, I'm very appreciative of all the fans that have watched the show and loved it.
Did it feel different when you went back? You know, like a lot of the cast had changed in like those final seasons, and you know, like the show moved in a different direction. Still great, you know, but like did it just feel like day one, the same thing mostly? It's just, this is like I never left.
It did. I mean, and like when Patrick and Linda and God bless Larry, or when, you know, Steve Canale, whenever we would get together, things don't change. I'm still the 17-year-old. Patrick will still make the same jokes. I will still laugh. He's so funny. And it's just kind of the same familia, you know, everybody has their place and whatever. It felt great to be back. But again, they really did not know what to do with Lucy. And making her an owner of an art gallery or whatever, it